Hey Leo, welcome to your weekly forecast for May 16th through the 22nd. This is for Leo Sun, Moon, and Rising. You may stumble upon this video after the time frame I mentioned. That's just fine. You're going to find it whenever you are meant to find it, whenever it was meant for you to hear the messages. Keep in mind this is a general reading for the collective. Therefore, not every single message is going to resonate, and that's okay. Just take what does, leave what doesn't. And as always, you may need a private reading. We're going to see what is coming up here for all of our Leo friends. Leo Sun, Moon, and Rising. Alright, let's get right on into it. We're going to move the camera just a little bit closer here. And the first card coming up for the Leo Collective is the Four of Cups. Now, I know this is a card that some people see it and they don't like to see it because it may kind of give them that lackluster kind of vibe, or not being happy or not being satisfied with a situation. But oftentimes there's something very powerful happening with this Four of Cups when it comes up. Some of you have heard me say this in the past. The Four of Cups makes me think of what Rumi wrote about when he wrote about divine discontentment. And divine discontentment is that moment when you start to realize you're a child of God. You're a child of the universe. Nobody is better than you. You're just as good as anybody else. And you start looking around and you start to realize, like, hey, all these people around me, they're having these blessings coming in. They're having these good things happening for them. And you're like, what about me? It's not jealousy. Like, you're not wishing evil on anybody. You're not saying that you don't want other people to have these blessings. You're like, that's good for them. I want them to have their blessings, but I also want to have blessings too. What about me? Where's my big break? Where's my success? Where's my, gift? When's it going to be my turn? Because we realize that we deserve it. We realize that we're just as worthy as anybody else. So this Four of Cups energy comes in when we're not satisfied with what we have. That doesn't mean that we're not grateful for it. Okay, let me emphasize that. Because you can be grateful for what you have, but at the same time, you can also realize that you are worthy of more, that you deserve better. So what's happening for a lot of Leos in this energy is that you're beginning to realize that the things that you have in your life right now, you manifested under very limited thinking. You manifested some real bare minimum kind of stuff. And now you're like, well, I realize that, my thinking is not limited anymore. I'm realizing that so much more is possible. And I'm realizing that I'm worthy of it, that I deserve it. And so I would like more in my life. So Four of Cups comes up when you're raising the bar. You're raising the bar. You're raising the standard for yourself. And you're wanting more. You're wanting the spice, the flavor, the seasoning, the cherry on top. You're wanting more than bare minimum. And that's a good thing. So don't see this as being ungrateful, or that, oh, I shouldn't feel this way, because this feeling is the very thing that's helping you to manifest more. So be in gratitude of what you have, but also acknowledge and be open to the fact that you deserve even more. The next card that's coming up here for our Leo friends is the Ten of Cups. Well, would you look at that, my dears and my darlings? You have the Ten of Cups. And so the Ten of Cups is going to come up when there's a sense of fulfillment, satisfaction, inner peace. Ten of Cups is happiness and satisfaction in every single area of our life. And oftentimes it's gotten typecast here as marriage and babies. Now, some of you could very well be manifesting marriage and babies. Absolutely, positively, you can be. However, the deeper meaning here of Ten of Cups is you're happily ever after. Inner peace, satisfaction in all areas of your life, and you're happily ever after. That being said, happily ever after is not going to be marriage and babies for every single person. Some of you do not want marriage or babies, or you just don't want babies, or you just don't want marriage, or whatever the combination might be. Some of you have already been there, done that, and your kids are grown and they're off living their life, and you're like, okay, well, now what? Now what do I do? So 10 of Cups is your happily ever after, and that's going to be different for different ones of us. So whatever your happily ever after is, right? This 4 of Cups, this discontentment, this raising the bar, you're figuring out what that is and you're calling it in. You're calling in your 10 of Cups. You're calling in your happiness and your happily ever after here, and satisfaction and fulfillment in every area of your life. Some of you first had to break out of the limited thinking of like, oh, well, you can't have it all, right? If your career is going great, your personal life's got to suck. If your personal life is going great, your career's got to suck. Like there's this thinking, or there's this belief that like for success or happiness in one area of your life, that you have to sacrifice success or happiness in another area of your life. And that's not the case. That's not the case. You can have happiness and fulfillment in each and every area. And so for some of you, that was the first thing that you had to realize or to acknowledge, and to break out of limited thinking in that way. The next card coming up here for the Leo collective is the 4 of Swords. Now, some of you are discontent. You're not happy with the way things are. You're figuring out what your 10 of Cups is. You want it. And you're also realizing certain steps that you're going to need to take to make this happen. But the 4 of Cups, the 4 of Wands here is saying, easy, Tiger. Hold up. Hold on. Okay? Yes, you're coming into some epiphanies. You're having realizations that you're deserving of more. Yes, you're realizing what you need to go out and to get it. But the 4 of Swords also reminds us that emotionally, mentally, spiritually, sometimes even physically, you have been through the ringer. You've been through a lot, and you've had some difficult situations to process. And right now, you need to relax, take a break, and let yourself process and release everything that you've been through. There's going to be plenty of time to roll up your sleeves and to get to work. But right now, you need to recharge. You need to release. You need to rejuvenate. And you need to prepare yourself for the work and the journey ahead. That doesn't mean that it's going to be like an excruciating journey or an excruciating process. It just means you need a little bit of a breather right now. You got to clear that old energy and make room for the good stuff that's coming in. So Leo, and keep in mind, we are still in Mercury retrograde till June 2nd. This might not be the best time to start new endeavors, but it's a good time to release the past. It's a good time to rest, to re-examine what you're trying to do and where you're wanting to go. And so this is going to be a good time for Leos to make time for prayer and meditation and alone time and release. This is just as important as being busy. This is just as important as doing the things that are going to align you with succeeding or obtaining what you want. This rest and release is just as crucial and just as important. So this is coming up to say, honor this time. Embrace it. It's necessary. You need it. And this energy that might feel or seem like you're doing nothing is just as important as the busy and active energy is going to be on your process and on your path. The next card coming up for the Leo collective, look how very positive, is the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is getting away from drama, getting away from chaos. It's smoother sailing, calmer waters, being able to hear ourselves think, being able to figure out what we want and what we're going to do in our life. There can also sometimes be an element of taking a trip with the swords. I'm sorry, Six of Swords. You may be preparing to take a trip. You may be wanting to go somewhere and visit somebody. And some of you have heard me say this already about the Six of Swords. But I see this card come up a lot in my readings when you think you're just going to go on a trip. You just think you're going to go visit someplace. But then next thing you know, everything is aligning and you find yourself unexpectedly relocating. Like everything is just falling into place so perfectly that before you know it, you're moving or relocating to a place that you set out simply only to visit. I've seen it happen time and time again when I've pulled this card for myself. I've seen it happen time and time again when I've pulled this card for certain clients that I've been reading for many years, and I get to see what happens for them on their journey in between the readings. And so I've seen it happen a lot where you may be taking this trip and the next thing you know, boom, pow, you're relocating. Six of Swords can also sometimes come up when connecting with water is going to be very beneficial and very helpful for us. Very healing, very releasing, especially with this Four of Swords energy where some of you do have things that need to be released and you may be like, well, I'm not sure how to access it or I'm not sure how to let it go. Don't underestimate the power of water. Whether it's going to the lake or going to the beach, if these things are in close proximity to you, maybe you can't. Maybe you're nowhere near the water, but you can you can set intention and take a shower. You can set intention and take a bath and just really focus on that feeling of water and allowing yourself to feel what that water feels like against you, to feel what it feels like to be in that water. It's very powerful, very healing, very activating. Okay, don't underestimate the power of water. There could be epiphanies and revelations coming to many of you as you're connecting with that energy, with the energy of water, right? And as I said, it can sometimes come up in terms of like a relocation here with the Six of Swords. But overall, it is getting away from drama, confusion, chaos, arguments, disagreements. So this Four of Cups for some of you may be that you're not feeling fulfilled because you may feel like there's people around that are being very negative about a situation or criticizing a lot, or they're just not satisfied, they're just not happy, and you just might be in this mindset where you're like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm taking a break from this. I need to get away from this. Especially here with this Four of Swords. Four of Swords can be a time of releasing and healing, but Four of Swords can also be a time of separation. So some of you may be taking a break. Maybe your job has been really stressful and you're thinking about leaving, but you're not sure if you want to do that. You don't want to give your notice just yet, or you want to just kind of rest and figure out what you want to do. Maybe you're going to put in for time off and put in for vacation. And in that time, maybe you're going to do some job hunting or some traveling and see what's out there. But so some of you maybe or so some of you could be a relationship where your needs aren't being met, or you feel like somebody's being very naggy or very demanding, and so you may be disconnecting or taking a little bit of a break or a little bit of a breather here with the Four of Swords. But the Six of Swords is telling us once you're in those smoother waters, those calmer waters, once you're in that peaceful energy, it's going to be next to impossible for you to force yourself to go back to the old energy because it's so unpleasant and it's so stressful. Like once you get a taste of freedom, you're not able to go back. That's what the feeling and the sense is for me here with this Six of Swords. It's like you're going to want to keep going. You're going to want to keep moving forward. So some of you Leos may be taking what you think is a temporary break, but it's very much becoming a permanent one. It's becoming very difficult for you to go back to the old ways, and just the way that things have been. You're wanting better for yourself, higher vibrational interactions, higher vibrational exchanges, and you're just not in the mood for criticism, judgment, negativity. You feel like you've dealt with that for far too long. You may want to check out your moon sign and rising sign videos. Some weeks your moon sign and rising sign may resonate more than your sun sign. Some of you maybe want to check out the love and romance readings for May. Those are linked in the description of this video. And if you would like to schedule a private reading with me, there's a link in the description of the video that takes you to calendly.com/amethystangelite, and you can schedule a private reading with me there. I also want to remind you all to check out the daily messages as well. A lot of people have been asking me to post daily messages on the channel, so I have been. Be sure to check out the daily messages, the card of the day posts as well. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I hope you all have a fabulous week ahead. Take care and be well, my dears.